So, welcome back to another episode of Entering a New Relational Paradigm. I have the honor and privilege to sit with Ida regularly and chat about our relational experiences and our insights concerning conscious relating and trauma awareness in relationships. Ida is a somatic therapist based in southern Sweden and an awesome trauma aware facilitator. She holds amazing spaces there. So if you haven't checked her out, check out her website. Yeah. And me, I'm Rouven. I consider myself as a cultural therapist exploring the effects of relationship in our culture back and forth. Cultural effects on relationship and relationship effects on culture. So, and today's topic with this new episode is relational trauma awareness. So, Ida, I'm curious, what would you mean with that, and what is your view on trauma awareness concerning relationships?
Thank you for that introduction, first and foremost. Yeah, well, it's a big topic, and let's see how deep we go in today, because this is something that I think both of us can definitely talk for hours and hours and days about.
Yes, we can.
Yes, but for me, it's it's a way of bringing in tools and awareness that actually enables me to be in the kind of connection and relationship I want to be. Because if I don't have awareness of my own nervous system and what I'm bringing into the relationship of, relational trauma, past experiences, relational patterns, and so on, there is like this filter, there is like this something comes between us, right? Because I might want to be close to you and always be kind to you and all of these things, but as soon as my nervous system gets activated, these filters come in, and it's actually not possible for me to be there with you. So for me, it's like essential. It's an essential piece that I wish everyone in every relationship had, just to have this, be able to live relationship the way I want to be living relationship. And not have this unconscious filters run the show.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I actually would go that radically far that I say we are actually really in relationship, like really me meeting you and the other way around, if we bring in some form of nervous system knowledge, nervous system regulation tools. Everything else is in a way reactive or some trigger response, at least the possibility of it. Yeah. But we aren't taught that in school. So that's actually the normal way of relating, is not having this knowledge, not having this reflection on ourselves, I would say. Yeah. So I think actually it could feel a little intimidating if we now say, like, if you really want to be in a relationship and if you want to have a thriving, happy relationship, you need trauma awareness. So do we need to study that? Where do we learn that? Like, how far do you need to go in that rabbit hole to have a relationship? Because we all want to have a relationship, right?
Well, good question, because it is definitely a rabbit hole that I know that both of us are very deep in. There's always more stuff to learn and explore and heal within yourself, discover within yourself when it comes to trauma and nervous system and all of that. But I would see like the baseline for that is that I get to know my relational history, meaning going back as far as my childhood to see how did the first relationships I made impact me, and get to know how my system has created these relational patterns out of that.
Mhm.
So to have this knowledge, which is like the baseline, to get to know myself, how I am in relationships, that would for me be like the basis of being self-responsible in a current relationship, is at least know my history and I know how my history shows up today, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And then on a more like practical level, I get to know my nervous system. I get to know what helps me. I think that's the most important piece. What helps me feel more safe? What helps me regulate? What helps me calm down? And get curious about that and find tools for that.
Mhm.
Those two are like the base
Mhm.
line, I would say.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. And I would actually like want to highlight the first one once more, like just the acknowledgement that my upbringing and my former experiences have created some conditioning on me, and that I'm not a blank slate going into a relationship like totally unexperienced and with all capacity to behave openly and differently or by free will. Yeah, just the acknowledgement that this has, like, my experiences had an impact is the baseline. Yeah, for me. Hmm. And then, like the second, what you say, like creating some awareness of actually what helps me to come into relationship, what helps me to step out of triggering moments, what helps me to soothe so I can come into clarity again. That I would say is the next step for me. Yeah.
Yeah. And
So it's not. Yeah. Please.
no, I just want to say I think this is really like crucial to name, because from my experience and what I see in this field that we're in,
Mhm.
of like people that want to relate more consciously and might start to explore this thing of trauma awareness and nervous system regulation, is that it starts to create this in a way codependency, where we jump over this step of taking responsibility ourselves,
Yeah.
that I need to learn how I regulate myself, right? But instead, we go to our partner and say, you need to create safety for me. You need
Right.
to regulate with me.
Right.
You need to change this and this that triggers me, so
Hmm.
that I can be more regulated in our relationship, right? And
Hmm.
I see this happening all the time, and I think it's really important to name
Yes.
that is something that happens, because when we're in an activated state, and if we have a lot of relational trauma with us, we tend to project, yeah, the need of a secure parent
Hmm.
onto our partner, like save me, help me, calm me.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I think that's important, and that's why I like to name this as a first step, is to take self-responsibility. How
Yeah.
can I self-regulate? And
Yeah.
then obviously, if you have a partner who is into this, also great if you can create like opportunities where you together regulate and where you create more safety inside the relationship. But it needs to start with
Hmm.
myself.
Hmm.
Would you agree
Yeah, I
to that?
totally agree. I totally agree because like there is, at least in some scene or like in this conscious coupling scene, yeah, there is a baseline of awareness for triggers and trauma and yeah, but there's still the idea of, oh, I need to avoid my triggers, or I need to find someone who doesn't trigger me. So actually the as you say, the focus is very much on the other, the partner. I need to find the right person that doesn't trigger me or that makes me feel safe, instead of, as you say, gaining awareness and self responsibility for my behavior. And if I have the luck of someone doing the same, then we can stay in connection, although we still have our triggers and we still have our weak spots and we still have our fears and we have our attachment issues in systems. It's not about getting rid of that. It's about owning that responsibility, bringing in self-responsibility and finding mutual or shared ways of dealing with it. Yeah. And that's something different than finding someone who doesn't trigger me, because that's always a tricky thing. Yeah.
I would say it's quite impossible, but
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
just me.
Yeah.
Well, I love that you name that, because yeah, that's definitely also something that happens, is that um, we see triggers or dysregulation as something bad, and we want to
Mhm.
avoid it, and we want to only be in relationship with people that don't awake that in us, because it is an unpleasant state to be in, especially if we don't know what to do with it. But I would like to bring in the perspective that triggers or moments of dysregulation or activation, strong emotions, they have important information for me,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
If I'm able to be with them, if I'm able to hold them, and like regulate my nervous system, I might need to, I don't know, go hit a pillow or go for a run or talk
Mhm.
to a friend or whatever the thing is that I need. But if I'm able to be with them, they hold really important information for me, that maybe there's a boundary that needs to be expressed. Maybe something has gone too fast or too
Mhm.
much, that needs to be spoken into in the relationship. But I can't do that when I'm in this highly activated state,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Because then I'm literally not, I don't have my adult brain online anymore.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And
But
I
there is
would,
information there that we can use and that we can harvest to
yeah.
bring into the relationship. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually there we could dive even deeper into the topic. Yeah. And we maybe would make an own episode about that. Like, what are co-regulation tools I can have with my partner or something like that. Yeah. But coming back to like this awareness, I think the trauma awareness, just acknowledging that I have patterns and triggers, just that, even not even knowing what to do with it, but just acknowledging that I have these patterns and triggers, gives me responsibility. And I love the word, if you like take it as the ability to respond,
Mm.
because if I'm not aware of that, I so easily go into, you make me do this, you make me behave like that. And I've been there. I've like several years ago, thank God, but I've been there, like, you make me behave this shitty, you make me shout at you, yeah, kind of like that. And to have an ability to respond is gives me the possibility to create a delay, realize something is happening, and just in that moment slow down, shut up, and feel and see what is happening in me, instead of being reactive on autopilot and justifying my patterns with your behavior. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'm intentionally pointing, like, to, yeah, that's
It's
so
really
easy.
unpleasant, actually,
Yeah, but
that
that's the way
pointing.
it goes, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you shout at me, that's why I close the door and don't talk to you,
Mhm.
and then that's your reason to shout at me even more, and la 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 la.
Point the finger back. Yeah.
Yeah, right, right. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think I love that you said shut up. Well, not that you said shut up, but that
Mhm.
piece around just bringing awareness to that when I'm in an activated state,
Yeah.
when my past trauma, my past experiences are taking over my system, um, I cannot actually um, be socially engaged in a way that is true to my adult self and my adult values, right? Like, I cannot be empathic about your experience, be curious about what it's like for you, have an overview of the situation, because my logically thinking brain, the
Hmm.
part of my brain that's responsible for those areas, is literally,
Yeah.
sorry, is literally offline,
Yeah.
right? Other parts of my brain have taken over. So this frontal lobe, the neocortex, is literally not
Yeah.
able to to activate those functions so that I can be, yes, I can talk and I can seemingly have a conversation with you, but that I cannot do that from a place of true interest and connection and empathy, and curiosity for your experience, so that we have a mutual conversation, right? So I think that is also a piece that many miss out, and myself included, sometimes when I'm in an activated state, to see that this is not a good time to have a conversation, right? This is when I need to shut up and see what is it that my system needs right now. Take care of that, and then I can have a conversation.
Because then the parts go online again. And actually that delay, that pause, that is possible. I'm not able to be empathic. I'm not able to have these mirror neurons on, but I'm able to be, in a way, disciplined and know, okay, there might be something happening. Maybe this isn't the best moment to continue. So I would say, actually, this is the basis for a functioning relationship. So you don't need to read all the books or study psychology and know Peter Levine or Jessica Fern or Gabo Mate or what's his name? Gerald Hüther in German. Like,
you
these
just
are
need
all,
to listen to us.
no, but they're all wonderful and they have so much knowledge. But I often have the impression, if I talk with my clients about some trauma awareness, they're like, oh, I need to know all that and I want to read the books. You don't have to read the books. You can read the books, they're great, but you need to acknowledge that there is a conditioning and that we aren't as free will driven as we might want to. And that our upbringing has had a big and huge impact on what we identify with today. And this is actually what we bring in relationship.
Yeah, I've noticed like there's so many threads I want to pull, but it is a big topic, and I want to be careful not to overwhelm people.
Is there anything more, like maybe one thread or one thing that's highly important for you to wrap that up, to have this as this part, and then we can have a topic on another conversation?
Yeah, I think what also is important to add, I would say, is the awareness that depending on what my previous experiences have been and what I take with me from my childhood, right? I literally turn you into that person that has given me those experiences, right? So when I'm in this state, when my nervous system gets activated or I'm triggered, I look for confirmation for that. So it's like putting on these goggles that zoom in to make sure that I only see disappointment or abandonment or whatever the filter is in those goggles, and that's the only thing I will see in that state, right? So being able to recognize that, not believe that fully, but to take those goggles off, so to speak, as I'm pausing and regulating and coming back down to a state where I'm able to be more open and socially engaged with you and see you more clearly. That's when I can actually see you, right? Because I don't have that filter of just looking for the pieces that will confirm my story. And you mentioned identity, that I'm the one that's being left, that I'm the one that's too much, or whatever the story is, the identity is that I have with me, right? So in this moment, I cannot see clearly what is happening right now. I have a filter of the past in front of what's happening now. Also how I see you. So I think that's an important awareness to have with you as you start to recognize when you're getting activated, how it shows up.
Yeah.
To not believe what you're seeing in those
Right.
moments.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a tricky one.
Yeah. And like just to give some practicality in, I think some indicators that there might be something happening there, yeah, that's not socially engaged anymore, is whenever someone gets loud, whenever you feel like um activation in a sense of nervousness, or I need to get out of here, or I'm becoming very fast and quick in my responses, yeah, whenever there is the recognition that I actually want to address more than receive from information. So these are first indicators that maybe this isn't the moment to continue trying to solve this situation, but rather come back to myself, and see what I need right now, other than having a quick solution or a reactive response to my partner. Yeah.
Yeah. And to add to that, there are also the people that go straight into a shutdown or a collapse,
Mm.
where the signs would either be like
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
become really quiet, the body
Mm-hmm.
posture might change, they
Mm-hmm.
might not be able to speak or like have clear thoughts anymore, um, and just feel really numb
Mm-hmm.
and not there, right? Because they're literally not there. They've
Yeah.
checked out.
Yeah.
So those are also signs that something is too much
Yeah.
and too fast, and there's like this regulation that needs to happen and be taken care of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And these signs are very different for different people. Again, depending on what we have with us, how our nervous system is primed, what reactions have worked for us in the past to
Mm-hmm.
get us out of difficult situations. Some people, like you say, they get really loud and angry, and I want to convince you, and I'm right and you're wrong,
Mm-hmm.
right? Some just leave the room or get really like
Yeah, or surrender,
agitated.
or get shameful, like self-blaming, self-shaming. Oh, you're right, and just want to please the other then, or yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, actually for me it's important to just say once more, it's not about getting it right and preventing those situations in a partnership. You won't be able to, and we all carry our conditionings and our triggers. First thing is acknowledging that I have a conditioning. And even if it's just like, oh, right now, something happens in me, I don't need to name it, I don't need to have a solution for it, but just acknowledging something is happening and then have the ability to say, let's not continue this right now and give it another shot the next time. That that is already wonderful. And then you can build up on that with more awareness, more examination of actually what has happened, and what are my triggers, and what are my stories, and what are my attachment styles and stuff like that. How can I regulate? How can I co-regulate? But that's already next steps. So first thing is just, ooh, something's happening. Maybe we should stop here and try it another time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The pause.
Pause.
The
Pause
pause
button.
button.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the best tools to have
Mm-hmm.
access to the pause button. And then like I said before, to discover what works for me in those moments, what
Mm-hmm.
helps calm me down.
Mm-hmm.
Because that there isn't a cure for everyone, and that it's depending on your
Yeah. Right.
unique nervous system and what works for you in those moments. And maybe already as you're listening to this, to start to get curious about that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What works for you? What helps you calm? What are you already doing that, yeah, helps
Mm-hmm.
you feel more safe inside and more present? Mm.
Yeah, and I feel the necessity that we do an own episode towards regulation tools, like what you're just saying, like giving ideas of what can I do if my partner isn't willing or able to respond to me right now, for example. Yeah. Um,
Mhm.
like we need to talk about that more deeper and more precise, but not today. This is the moment for the pause.
This is the moment. But I'm so excited. I want to keep
Yeah,
talking.
right. You can also be
My-
positively triggered, like, let's
yeah.
go on and let's, we're grooving together. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I feel time is up. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So that's something you can look forward to, an episode on, somatic resources and tools that you can use to regulate
Yeah.
and co-regulate.
Yeah. And if you have your experiences and if you have things that work for you, they might be beneficial for others to hear also. So just share them in the comments, maybe, if you want. Yeah, that always gives new inspirations for others as well. Yeah,
Great idea. Yeah,
yeah.
let's
For
gather
me,
some
what
resources.
helps wonderfully is showering or dancing. Just shut up and take a shower. After that, the world looks different. Trust me.
For me, it would be going out into nature and like be
Yeah,
barefoot in the grass and
yeah,
also dancing, moving,
yeah.
putting on good music. Yeah, it's definitely a good resource for me. Yeah.
Hey. Ah. Hey, thank you, Ida, for today. Yeah, I'm looking forward for more, and there will come more in the next weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, so stay tuned on our channels, on Rouven's YouTube channel, Evolutionary Integrity, and on my podcast, Somatic Relating. And we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.